For great ideas and practical tools you can start using tomorrow to grow your business and separate you from the competition, you've come to the right place. If you're into B2B marketing and sales, then welcome to the one and only B2B Marketing and Sales Podcast. With over 60 and counting total years in the trenches of businesses small and large, they have a plethora of knowledge and experience that generate you more leads, capture more clients, ring up more sales. Well, doggone it, just make you more money. How about that? Always thought-provoking, yet dubiously entertaining. Please welcome to their respective microphones across 3 time zones, your co-ringmasters, the Dave Loomis, and not the rock star, Steve Miller.
We're going to be talking about the world of useless voice of customer.
Boy, versus... you're gonna love.
Oh, I'm going crazy on this one.
Oh, I bet you better go crazy on this one.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna pull out all the stops here. I got notes and everything.
So that's what we've got. Is he's gonna pull out all the stops, and he's got notes and everything. And we just had this just fascinating conversation about green, blue, and pink hydrogen.
Yes, it's a thing, people. It's a thing. It is. Hydrogen economy. Yep.
Anyway, the hydrogen economy. That's exactly right. So, and I promise you, we are not going to bring it into this conversation.
We are not, but I may find a way to weave it in later.
Welcome, gangsters and ladies, and I already did ladies and germs, I think, last time, so I won't do that again. But anyway, welcome once again to the B2B Marketing and Sales Podcast.
It just rolls right off of the tongue.
It rolled right off the tongue. I am.
Who are you?
I'm Kay's husband, Steve.
Okay.
Steve Miller, better known as Kelly's dad, marketing gunslinger, not the rock star. But I am joined by a certified rock star, Mr. David Mayo Loomis, the author of a best-selling book
in the house
titled "Marketing is Everything We Do."
Don't forget it.
And you're going to want to keep that on the top of your mind right now, because we're going to talk about something that I know nothing about. No, I take that back. I know a little bit about it, but today, Mr. David Mayo Loomis, author of "Marketing is Everything We Do," the thing about him that I learned a long time ago, but it was actually really, really reinforced to me recently, is that this guy is like the world's foremost expert, guru, leader of the free world in what is known as voice of the customer. Now, voice of the customer, and this is going to be Steve asking a lot of questions today. So, I might have a few comments to make in there, right? Because I've had a very, very small, I've had a small experience with VOC, for those of us that are in that world. That stands for voice of customer, in case you weren't keeping up. You weren't
volatile organic compound.
All right. That's right. And that's a callback. So so let's start out with, let's just start out with the simple stuff. Okay. What is voice of the customer? Where did it come from?
It's a great question. Why should we care? Steve, that's a great question, Steve. And I have the answer to that.
And I'm referring to my notes because,
I'm looking down because I wanted to get this quote exactly right. So voice of customer was a term coined by someone named Dr. Abby Griffin. And I've met her a few times. And one time
no relationship to Abby Normal.
No. She is she's normal, but her name isn't Normal.
Okay.
It's Griffin. which is a fairly normal name, but
Yeah,
anyway,
very much so.
I timed it perfectly so that I was either getting hors d'oeuvres or a drink or something right behind her so that I could ask her this question. And I said, look, Abby, we've all, everybody's read the article. Everybody uses this term voice of customer now. In fact, people, call it VOC, except I go all these places and everybody says they're doing VOC and they're really not. How do you define it now? How do you define it? Just in a sentence.
Mm-hmm.
And here's what she said. Voice of customer is learning about a customer's challenges in their entirety. She made a big point of that. And prioritizing them so they can be addressed through product improvements and innovation. Now, I took that answer and first of all, I thanked her and talked to her a little bit more about it. But, things evolve in the world. I mean, honestly, before she coined that term, do you think anybody was talking to their customers ever before?
Apparently not.
I don't think so. I think,
apparently
that was a no. Yeah, you weren't allowed to have a conversation with a customer before.
No, you just go sell them.
She opened the door to that. No, you know what? Good people who are, in business. And in my book, I've got the whole, Stone Age parable, the little cavemen that grunt and they trade. And, one person, makes, carving tools or something like that. And the other people make pottery and they figure out what's of value to the other person. And that's what they make so they can have a fair trade.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't make a trade that's unfair.
No.
And if we're in right now, we have businesses and we sell things for money. That's the trade. They're trading what we sell, a service or a product, and they're giving us money. But it's the same thing. They wouldn't give us more money than they think whatever it's worth. So it's our job to provide something that is of value. I mean, that's sort of the bottom line of why we're doing what we're doing. But I wasn't really satisfied with her answer because she's really in the product development world. And that's where voice of customer is really big in R&D and engineering and product management and all that, because you're going out and you're trying to find unmet needs, and then you're going back and you're trying to innovate to create new products or enhancements or whatever. But I define it much more broadly in that, why do we even have it? Why are we going out to talk to our customers? It doesn't have to be just about new product development. It can be about new markets. It can be about branding. It can be about content development, channels of distribution, website development, anything you really need to know to understand the customer better. We should go talk to them about it. And the term voice of customer is less important to me than what we're trying to do and how we do it.
So what are we trying to do? What do you think the because I think that's a very accurate description of what VOC is, and what and also the fact that it's like a lot of stuff in business is that they'll people will say like salespeople will say, okay, do you plan out each of your sales calls? Oh yeah, absolutely, I plan out each of my sales calls. No, they don't.
They do. Sure.
No,
they
don't.
Yeah, right.
No, they don't. No, they don't.
No.
It's all up in the head. It's not. It's not a plan. And the same thing with VOC is that you say to somebody, what you should really think about doing VOC, and they go, oh, we talk to our customers all the time.
Perfect segue. So I'm sort of going to answer your question, but I'm sort of going to go where you were just going. and I'm going to get on my soapbox for a second.
Okay, here we go.
Do you know where that term really comes from?
Soapbox?
Getting on your soapbox?
I cannot wait, because certainly it's germane to this.
Well, I'm pretty sure. So, like, certainly in Hyde Park in London,
Yes.
it's known for people just like getting up and talking.
Yeah, they can
It's
get
like
up
a
and just
public
start
forum.
talking. It's very
Right.
common in Hyde Park. Yeah.
Right. But they used to buy, a common box was a box that you would have your soap in, and they would stand on it
Yeah.
so that they're a little bit higher than the crowd. And then people would say, get off your soapbox,
Yeah, get up.
blah, blah, blah. Yeah, because you're preaching. But I'm getting on my soapbox here for a second. Most voice of customer research is just terrible. It just sucks.
Mhm.
That's my belief. And I wrote, when I said I had some notes, I wrote down some reasons just off the top of my head why I think most of it is terrible. And you said it. So companies think they do VOC because their sales or service people are out there all the time. So they're like, oh, we're talking to our customers.
Mhm.
Or they send an online survey that's worthless, and they get the results and they say, oh, we do VOC.
Mhm.
Or how about the best is they calculate a net promoter score and they say, oh, we do VOC. Now, even if they have a purposeful meeting and they intend to listen, they end up doing all the talking. Most people can't stop selling. And if you bring an engineer, they can't stop solving. So they hear a problem and they want to start talking about the solution right then and there. And there goes your whole conversation about trying to get into the mind of the customer and understand what's going on. So the question,
I like that. I just want to repeat what you just. I'm going to be a minister here right now.
Okay, yeah,
because
say
they
amen,
like to repeat.
Amen.
So
Yeah.
we're going to say is that salespeople can't stop selling, and engineers can't stop solving.
That's exactly right. They can't, and we don't want them to. We don't want them to. That's why they're good at what they do.
Yeah.
And so to say to either one of those people, well, we've got this little extra job for you to do. It's called voice of customer. You're supposed to change your entire personality in your brain, the way it's wired, for about an hour and a half.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And get into deep inquiry.
That goes against the grain.
Yeah. Like that's going to happen. Like that's going to happen.
Yeah.
So their questions, they only scratch the surface. The process takes time and money. It usually doesn't result in any breakthroughs. And so it gets a bad rap. And so people, a lot of companies think, oh, VOC, it's something we're supposed to do. Doesn't really work. So, 99% of the people out there, I think, are getting it all wrong. I really do think that. So that's not a real answer to your question. I think your question was what is it for?
Well, okay, let me rephrase it.
Yeah.
What should it do?
Great. That's another great segue. So I think what it should do is get to deep insights. So we should be going beyond the voice of the customer to, I don't know what you want to call it, soul of the customer. I mean, we need to do more. And you and I were on the line the other day, and you looked up insight, the word insight, on your favorite website, Word Hippo.
Word Hippo, my favorite website.
It's really different because you can look at a word in all sorts of different ways. It's very intuitive, but I think the results are very helpful and different. It just doesn't seem like the other ones. So what did it say about an insight? It said a sight or view of the interior of anything, a deep inspection, introspection, power of acute observation and deduction, penetration, discernment, perception. It even has something about marketing, which I kind of take issue with. It says knowledge usually derived from consumer understanding that a company applies in order to make a product or brand perform better and be more appealing to customers. Actually, I think they should have switched that, like make it more appealing to customers, then the brand performs better. But but those are some things about insight. But one thing, there's a guy.
I'm gonna disagree with that. I just want to quickly jump in and say you said those are things that give us insight. No, if we learn something that the customer, like if the customer knew ahead of time that we were going to come in and we want to talk, we want to hear from them, we want to hear the voice of the customer, and the conversation with them, they're going to have a very specific perspective of what this conversation is going to be about, and I would say 9 times out of 10, 99 times out of 100, that the perspective that they have is that, oh, they want to hear what I think about my business and about their products. That's what they want to hear. Okay, so that right there smacks of heuristics, and people prepare, which means that they're going to tell us what they're going to tell us what they think they know, and they're going to tell us what they think we want to know.
And they're going to tell us what they think we should do.
Right.
Which they may or may not be in a position to do. Like they think they're doing us a favor by giving us quote unquote ideas, their ideas. Oh, you should do this. You should do this. Because most people, if you were in sales or service or not doing voice of customer correctly, you just say, oh, thanks for that idea. That's amazing. And then you go back and everybody's asking for this. We've got to do this, people.
That's right. We got to do it. And I think that when I say the word insight, that my objective is to go gain insight. What I think it means is that in a conversation with a customer, I'm kind of I'm the outside person looking in. I don't have the heuristics. I don't have the bias,
right,
of either them or anybody on my.
You sort of don't have skin in the game in the same way.
Don't have skin in the game or anything like that. So what my objective is to go in and try to discover things that they don't know.
That's perfect, and that you don't necessarily know.
I don't know either until I hear.
There's a brilliant guy named Liam Fahey. He's at Babson College, and I spent a little time with him, and he's really big on this concept of insight. And I made a note of this too, because this is a very interesting thing, the way he defines it. And he has all these examples of voice of customer work that has produced this, but he says insight is a new understanding of something that makes a difference. So let's just say that there's a piece of information that actually everybody already knows.
Yeah.
Including your competitors and us and all that. But you go out and you actually make a discovery, like you just said, that actually a light bulb goes on and it's like, oh, I see a different way of looking at this, or I see a connection. And that's just step one that Fahey says, that's important. But then you have to be able to do something with it that makes a difference. And so he went on to say something like, it's a unique perspective gained through the interpretation of data, different perspectives, but it has to have impact. It has to make a difference. So the value of the insight is to deliver better strategy or whatever. Better strategy yields better results. it'll get you one up on the competition because you'll be 2, 3, 4 steps ahead. That's what we're after. Figuring things out that people haven't figured out before.
And in order to do that, and that, this fits in so well with, my teaching the uncopyable mindset, the uncopyable philosophy, is that it is very, very difficult, if not impossible, okay, for us to think outside our heuristics. So like when people say, for example, the very, very common phrase, you got to walk in your customer's shoes.
Oh yeah.
You got to think like your customer.
Yeah.
Well, that's almost impossible. That is almost impossible to do because we don't think like them. Okay?
We're not
don't.
them.
No matter how hard we try to think like them, we don't think like them.
Well, we're us. We're us. We have our own
and
experience and our own biases. And
if we are, as I teach in the Uncopyable, this concept of the box. All right. And you did mention this a little bit. I'm also looking at the this article that you wrote on LinkedIn.
Yes, the
recently,
box.
That kind of spurred this conversation. I talk about the box, the proverbial box, and I think this is really important for people to realize. Because, see, if I ask the question, I don't know if I've ever asked you this question, Mr. Mayo Loomis. What is the box?
The box that we're supposed to be.
Yeah, you hear over and over again, you got to get out of the box. So, but there are two questions that are not answered there.
I think the box is our heuristics. I think the box is the limitations that we put on ourselves because of our own experience.
Right.
That make us think a certain way and keep us from thinking a different way.
That's really good. That is really, really good. Now, using shorter words, I describe it as being, you think and act like all the people you are around all the time. So the box, if we say the box is, for example, the manufacturing industry, and all of the companies who are manufacturers are in that box. All of the companies who buy from manufacturers are in that box. All the trade shows are in that box. All the publications are in that box. Anybody who, schools who teach manufacturing are in that box. And so it's you're in this box that is constrained by 4 walls, roof, roof and a floor, and you are all talking to each other, and a common language starts to develop. Legalese, perfect example, right? Medical, doctors, have their own language.
Oh yeah.
In manufacturing, you talk to people, they have their own language. What the hell is a CNC machine? So, and when you hang around with each other, that is the box. You're inside that box. So now if we understand that that's where we are, and then you take the phrase, you got to get out of the box. Go, okay, cool. So in other words, for me to start thinking creatively, I have to get out of the box. What's outside the box?
Something different. Something different. When you were saying that about manufacturing, I was thinking about my days in the forklift business, and I remember so distinctly multiple times when we got reports from all our salespeople going out into the field and coming back and complaining about forklift driver shortages. Nobody's trained to drive forklifts anymore. Nobody wants to drive forklifts anymore. Our customers can't can't even get the drivers. Boy, we could sell more forklifts if there were more drivers. And, innocent old Dave said, could we provide the driver? I mean, could we just give them a price for the forklift truck that's a lease that includes the driver? It's a monthly charge, and we'll give you the forklift truck and the driver, and we'll pay all that person's, you don't have to worry about a darn thing, and put another person on your payroll or whatever. Turnkey situation.
Yeah.
If you could have seen the faces of the people when I suggested this.
That's because you see, it's
not done.
The ideas, when ideas come out, when you hear a new idea, it's typically from somebody who is not connected, who doesn't live in the box. Famous story about a hotel was trying to figure out, it wasn't a really big hotel, but they really needed it. It was just too busy inside, too crowded. The lines to the elevators were too long, and they said, we need to add another elevator. Okay, well, then they started, the architects and everybody come in, and they start to figure out, okay, well, they're going to have to take out this roll, this column of rooms. They're going to have to take them out. The rooms, which are money makers, right?
Oh yeah, don't do that.
Because then we can put the elevator in there, and it's going to take out a lot of revenue generating, spots and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they're all standing outside looking at this building and trying to come up with okay, so which rooms should we take out? Which ones are the lowest? And all this sort of stuff. And some guy was standing there next to him, and he just looked at him and he said, why don't you just add the elevator to the outside of the building?
Interesting. We've never done that before.
Because nobody ever sees it that way, because they're in the box. They're inside the box.
Or why don't you, give people a cocktail while they're waiting for the elevator and make it into a party?
It's a different,
so they don't mind.
Whatever
so they don't mind waiting.
It's something totally different.
Something totally different.
Yeah. So now to spin this thing back to the VOC.
VOC.
And this is what I think I'm hearing you say, is that in order to really, really get valuable information through the customer, I'd rather not necessarily from the customer, but through the customer, is that it is very helpful to have somebody who doesn't live in the box.
I think that's true. I do teach voice of customer skills also to a lot of companies. And they can go a long way, but it sure doesn't hurt to have an independent outsider to help. Yeah, absolutely. Right. Or to just do it in certain cases.
Or as you talk about in your article, to also take different perspectives of VOC.
Right. I mean, the way I do it, I want to learn. I think the C stands for at least 3 things and maybe 4 things. I think it stands for customers, sure, but sequentially, I talk to people internally at the company first, so it's voice of company. I want to talk to the internal stakeholders to see what we're starting from. Like, what do they think? And they're going to have their hypotheses and theories and all that, but it's very important to get that, to sort of get smart before you go out. You can get a lot smarter then by doing the second C, which is the channels of distribution. So you're still not at the customer yet. And FYI, some companies will call their channels of distribution the customer. Yes. And think they're doing voice of customer because that's who they send the invoice to.
Right.
And then that channel resells it to the end user. But I'm really talking about the customer as the end user. In B2B sense, and in some cases, you could even go to the consumer that the product, if it makes it all the way to an actual consumer. There's lots of levels to this.
Or maybe another way of looking at it is it's your customer's customer.
Exactly. Exactly. All the way down the value chain, as far as you want to go.
As far as you
Yeah.
want to go.
Yeah,
Right.
you learn a ton of stuff and then bring that learning back up the value chain.
Right. Right.
So you get that extra perspective. I think that's important. But I also think that there's a magical thing here. There's like a secret sauce. There's a mindset change. Like you could instruct two people in the same way and give them the exact instructions and the tools. And one would go back and they'd do a crappy job at VOC, and the other would come back and with these gems, with these things that we're mining for, these insights. And you're like, well, they had the same training, the same instruction. What was the difference? And I'm going to go really far out on a limb, like up on my soapbox. And I say this in my book. I say the difference is love. People don't use the word love in business very often, but I'm saying, do you just want satisfied customers? Is that what we're after here? You just want the next order? Why are we even in business? Because the people that actually care more about their customers, that actually comes out. Like, I want you, Mr. Customer or Ms. Customer, to be like monumentally more successful.
Right.
I want you to get more customers, because that's why you're in business. And I'm going to help you with that. Now, let's talk and let's figure out, how can I help you with that? And there's a few ingredients: curiosity, empathy, that real caring. And I think that if you do that and couple it with the right training and the right way to do it, better questions to begin with, better listening, better analysis, and better conclusions. And you put all those together, and then you get your insight, right? This is the beyond VOC, the deep insights. And then you're not just participating in this game we play, and everybody says, well, you want to win? Screw winning. We want to dominate.
I want, and I get criticized about this all the time.
Who wants to just win? I want to win by a ton.
You know, that my book, Uncopyable, the subtitle is How to Create an Unfair Advantage Over Your Competition.
Wait, but that's not fair.
I get criticized all the time because the unfair advantage, that doesn't sound
very fair.
That's not nice. It's not nice. And I'm like, do you want your competitors to have a chance? No. That's my objective is to make sure my competitors don't have a chance.
No. Exactly. Exactly.
That is business success.
Right.
That's what that is.
And I will just say, a great place to start is doing better voice of customer, whatever you want to call it, getting deep insights from the people that you are selling to or want to sell to.
Well, I think it needs a new name. And you and I have talked about this a little bit. But let me let me kind of restate again. I'm the minister, right? I'm hallelujah. And
Amen.
Because what I'm going to say now is this is what I heard that today, what I heard from you, this to me is really, this is like the killer app. All right. What is the traditional definition of voice of a customer? It's that you call up your customer and you say, hey, listen, I'd like to come down and talk to you and learn more about your company. Okay. Now, and that, and within that, we're also saying to ourselves, okay, I'm a salesman, but I'm not going to sell, or I'm an engineer, but I'm not going to solve. Right. Really hard to do. Really hard to do. I mean, the companies that I have taken into a form of VOC, they have, I'm constantly reviewing, like the list of questions that they go in with, and inevitably, somebody sneaks in a question that has to do with their products. Right?
Oh, of course. In fact,
I'm going, stop it. So
we'll talk about this another time, but I don't even think you need to go in with a list of questions, but we can talk about that.
No, but you got to know what you're doing. You got to know what you're doing.
You got to know what you're doing.
So you've got that side where we say to the customer, we want to come in and learn from you.
Right.
But we're not looking for, we're really not looking for their perspective. In reality, we want to go beyond their perspective. We want to go deeper. We want to go higher. We want to go farther this direction and farther this direction. So maybe it's not voice of the customer, it's voice of the channel. And that, you know what, for me to go 2 steps past them to their customer's customer and find out what the issues are for them.
Or voice of the value chain.
Voice of the value chain. Exactly right. Voice of the value chain. And then you come back, you go as far down the road as possible, and then you step it back, and you're bringing new information, new perspectives, new ideas. And you're coming back, and you're even going to your customer and you're saying, hey, did you know that your customer's customer has this issue?
Exactly.
You know, or they have this complaint. Do you know about that? And usually they're going, well, no, I don't have any contact with them.
Right. Or, well, that doesn't make any sense, because we haven't heard that, and we're out there all the time with them. In fact, we have a person on site at that customer, and we've never heard that. I'm not sure that's true. We're going to verify that.
Yeah.
a week later. Yeah. I guess you're right about that. Yeah.
I heard that's true.
Maybe we can work on that together.
Yeah.
And solve this problem.
So in other words,
Mm-hmm.
the objective of and at this moment, for lack, we'll say, and I'm not even going to say voice of the value chain, insight of the value chain. See, I'm just throwing this voice thing out of here.
Okay.
And insight of the value chain is to uncover, discover things that nobody's thinking about.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know what I don't know.
Yep. That we
I don't know what I don't know.
make a difference.
And that can make a difference. Exactly right.
Yes.
Exactly right. Now, I think there needs to be a lot more conversation about this, but we've had enough today.
We have, and if anybody wants to send ideas for renaming what we really should call,
we might have a
voice of customer or insight of value chain, or whatever it is, go for it.
Yeah.
We're all ears.
And
we want to listen to the voice of our customer.
Yeah. And I just want to say, we got the man sitting right here with me. He's crossed the country from me, but as our announcer says, he crossed 3 time zones.
Right.
Exactly.
We need an explosion in the background now.
Yeah, kaboom. That's right. I might have to do that. Might have to edit that in. So but this to me is a fascinating conversation, and I think that it's one that can go a long way towards providing really incredible new value to companies. I'm not even going to say
right.
Our B2B companies. I'm just saying,
and that's the point. That's why we're in business. That's what we're trying to do.
And as much as I don't want to love everybody, I know you do.
Yeah. Okay.
But I'm on board. I hear you.
You're on board with the L word. The L word. Okay.
I'm reluctantly on board.
He's all right. But as long as it's an unfair advantage.
That's what it is. As long as it's
love with aggressiveness and meanness. It's the cringe.
Right. And that's
your heart is melt. Your
That's
heart
a good place to cut us off.
Perfect. As we approach the holiday season, we have had a great session here of the B2B Marketing and Sales Podcast with myself, Dave Loomis, and not the rock star Steve Miller. And we love all of you listeners out there. Please tell others. Special shout out. I got a LinkedIn post that I was tagged in, and it was from Justin, who's one of our listeners, and it was the screenshot of his Spotify annual Wrapped message that showed the ranking of his podcasts, and we were at the top of all the things that he listened to for the whole year.
No kidding.
And he gave us a shout out.
He didn't tag me.
Thank you, Justin. Thank you, Justin Fagan. Well,
Yeah. Well, one of us is thanking you, Justin Fagan,
All right.
All right, kid.
Okay. All righty.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the one and only B2B Marketing and Sales Podcast, the source for B2B marketing and sales insight. If you enjoyed the podcast, please be sure to subscribe and leave these old guys a 5-star rating. Check the show notes for any links and contact information. You can always contact us by going to b2bmarketingsalespodcast.com. Thank you, and keep on marketing, keep on selling.